Welcome to Yin Yoga Lifestyle. I am your host, Colette Darville. Cultivating our body's resilience and inner silence and its application to all aspects of your life. Let's become enlightened and enjoy the power of intuitiveness and creativity. You are listening to Society Bites Radio, social interaction for the mind and soul. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I am your host, Colette Darville, and this is Yin Yoga Lifestyle. So now let us take a deep meditative breath. Inhale, so. Exhale, hum. Marc Zimberg is an inspirational speaker and the preeminent expert in modern meditation, mindfulness, modern enlightenment, and he is the author of Stop, Smile, Breathe, Be. He is the CEO and founder of Evolutionary Human Development, EHD Media, and EHD Academy. His mission to stand for the possibility of everyone connecting to their true oneself and allowing their greatest talents to be realized in the world. It is this collaborative shift of consciousness which will ultimately allow humanity to evolve to the peace we all dream of. After decades of his own personal quest and guiding thousands of spiritual seekers in awakening to the peace of oneness, Marc has created the revolutionary program Access Points, the modern life meditation plan. By distilling the ancient wisdoms of meditation, self-inquiry, and Zen into a fun, easy into a fun to follow, easy to apply system, this progressive teaching is pioneering in its approach to deliver all the benefits of traditional meditation while matching the fast pace of today's hectic, on-demand lifestyle. And in addition, he is the executive producer and star of the online show Awake Alive, offering keen insights into an ever-deepening awakening to your true oneself and living life as the greatest expression of you. Thank you for coming on the show, Brian.
Yeah, it's great to be here. It's great to connect with everybody.
Yeah. Brian, how were you introduced to meditation? I mean, did you have any teachers who really encouraged you, or was it just sort of a very organic journey for you?
Well, I was raised in a household where I was surrounded by self-help and neuro-linguistic programming, Anthony Robbins, and all this positive stuff. And I started to have these experiences when I was younger. But really, the big change was in 1996 in Joshua Tree Desert, where I had this kind of awakening, this realization that everything was connected in one. And that was on the come down, actually, of psilocybin mushrooms. And in that, I started to want to experience that. It was the first time I saw that God was not something outside of me, that there was this, that it was all connected. It was all one. And I wanted to know more of what that was. At that point, I was already in Hollywood. I was making a movie, chasing my dreams.
Yeah.
And it was all about promoting me. But instead, I really wanted to find out what that was. And that led me initially to really Paramahansa Yogananda and SRF, Self-Realization Fellowship. And the meditation started there for me, about doing 2-3 hours a day of meditation. Eventually, that led to probably the most influential people being on me. My bar mitzvah rabbi, Osho, was a big influence on me, where I really sat, and he said not to do a meditation practice, but just to see. If you don't follow anything, you don't try to do anything, just sit for a moment. And in that, there's just a deeper stillness and realization that's possible. And then my greatest mentor would be Gangaji, who invited me to the inquiry of self-inquiry of Ramana Maharshi, really recognizing that you can turn to this I am, which is the core of what meditation is pointing to. That we don't have to sit to meditate, that we can actually recognize it right here and now.
Yes, and you, like a lot of people, they do struggle with sort of being with themselves and being quiet. And was that something that you had to overcome, or did it just come naturally to you?
Well, again, so what I define meditation is, what meditation really is, the shift of attention out of your mind.
Mm.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
often when people are meditating, when our attention's with our mind, we're in this separation paradigm. We're in this like do, have, be paradigm. It's always the survival animal, the ego, the mind is always do first. But the truth is that being is actually first. So when some people sit to meditate, the reason it gets uncomfortable at some point is because, first of all, you're sitting to do the meditation, to have an experience so that you can be happier later on. So it's still triggered by the mind of trying to get something. And that whole idea of moving to get something is also denying where you're already whole. So real
Right.
meditation is connecting to what's already whole. When it gets uncomfortable if we sit down, it's because, A, we don't know how to be free from our thoughts. So we can be so stuck in our thoughts. Or if we start to find that stillness and peace and sitting meditation, a lot of all the emotions that have been pushed away that we're uncomfortable with, they come up once there's an opening in space. And that's where people think they're just looking for that peace, but they actually have a lot of stuff to face within themselves in that space.
Right. Right. And now you wrote a book called Stop, Smile, Breathe, and you also
Yeah,
have
stop, smile, breathe, be.
sorry, Stop, Smile, Breathe, Be.
That's okay.
And the program that you've created called Access Points, the Modern Life Meditation Plan. Now, you teach how to break free from the stress and negative thoughts. And there, are there really quick and easy techniques that we can learn to provide us with sort of immediate inner peace, relief, and happiness? I mean, is that something that's really open to us as human beings?
Totally. In fact, the misnomer and the myth of meditation is that we have to somehow stop our thoughts, sit for
Right.
30 minutes twice a day, that we have to put on headphones. It's actually a shift of attention. When we can learn to shift our attention to just the sense that we are, the simple sense that we're here now. Once we
Mm.
start to shift our attention to that, new neural pathways lay, we stop being addicted to our mind, and we start to align with a stream of meditation that's always occurring. See, most people in life are turning, it's like a hurricane. Most people in
Mm.
life in their life are turning to the outskirts of the storm where the chaos is. So they're turning to their thoughts or to their emotions to try to work out their life inside the chaos instead of turning to the center of the storm where there's already stillness, where there's already clarity. So what we can do right now, actually, if you're listening in, just for a moment, you can just, if you're able to close your eyes, if you're not driving or something, you can close your eyes. If not, it
Mhm.
doesn't matter. Just notice your breath for a moment. Now, I'm not saying to try to breathe a certain way. Just for a moment, notice, do you have to do anything to breathe? And the mind can answer that as yes or no. But coming even closer to self-inquiry is just to let the direct experience be the answer. So you can just start to notice the space where breath starts to return. Notice how your body receives that
Mm.
breath. And in that receiving, there's already a gratitude there. And if you just start to tune into that throughout the day, 10 times, 20 times a day, you'll already start to notice a massive shift. In my book, Stop, Smile, Breathe, Be, some people, just Friday, someone on our weekly meetings just said how it changed their life because stop, smile, breathe, be in that order allows a shift of attention to direct access to being. So the myth and idea that it's somewhere else, where you have to do something to get to it, you have to practice hard to get to it, or even that you need to be spiritual. See, if freedom is real, if oneness is real, then it has to be everywhere all the time. It can't just
Mhm.
be out in nature. It can't just be in a moment on psychedelics or
Right.
meditation or yoga. It has to be accessible all the time, or it's not real. It's not oneness. It's not everywhere. So
Right.
therefore, it's really just a shifting free of mind. It's an unlearning from the conditioning of believing ourselves to be separate and moving into true unity. And that is all found within ourselves. So it's really right here, right now, for real.
So your book, when did you realize you needed to write a book?
Well, I originally went to share directly with people after meeting Gangaji in 2001. In 2002, she gave me her blessings to start sharing direct awakening with people. And I
Mm.
did that for about 5-6 years. And after that, I decided to step away. Wanted to evolve. I had children, business, life, divorce,
Right.
marriage again, more children, and working in a job. And people would approach me like, how are you living this awake life in life? You used to be this. And I knew I would come back to sharing that at some point. So just trusting life and living this beautiful flow of life. The book started to come out. It was time for me to come forth and to really, as this planet right now is shifting, that so much people are feeling, right now with what's going on in the world with Corona, Really, it's an
Right.
offering. It's horrible, the death, but death's happening every day. What's really happening here is the unknown is in everyone's face.
Right.
And do we ever really know what's going to happen next in life? Ever?
Right. Right.
So
And
that unknown is always, always present. It's always there, and we're always avoiding that. So if we can start to recognize what we're avoiding and how we turn to our mind, we can start to actually, in the next evolution of being human, not a condition of being spiritual. There's people who are, I've worked with people who are devout Muslims, rabbis of all walks of life, right? It's not even
yeah.
spiritual, but suffering. And if they're suffering, and if you know enough is enough, then you can start to shift free from your mind. So the next evolution of being a human being is to live from your heart, from your soul, not from your mind.
Now, you on your website, you also have courses, and you actually have is it the access points, the Modern Life Meditation Plan? But you can actually coach people online, don't you?
Yeah. So what I do is I work with people throughout the world,
Mm-hmm.
either in groups or private. I've limited time with private, but I help people from, like I said, from severe depression, OCD, PTSD, and the extreme levels, to people who are just ready to be freer in life, to people who are yoga teachers and shamans of 20, 30 years, to entrepreneurs who are ready to find the zone and flow within themselves, and athletes to live at the peak of ourselves. It's all within ourselves. The healing, the revealing is all learning how to shift. And once that shift occurs, we can really live in that alignment. So I help people online with coaching. I
Mm-hmm.
do some week programs with them. And Access Points, the Modern Life Meditation Plan, is just phenomenal because weekly we're meeting with people twice in a group. Every day your practice is in your daily life because it has to be recognized in daily life. So
Wow.
we have to go
Yeah.
to retreat and recognize it, or on the yoga mat only, but in life, that's where life really hits. So we have to be able to find that freedom in every moment. And once we can, it becomes an obvious choice. We start to flow in that. So I help people drop all their pain and suffering and truly start to live a life of freedom, flow, and abundance, where they start to have their relationships flourish. They start to feel true self-love, self-power emanating from themselves instead of looking for it somewhere else. We end the whole victimhood of looking outward for who and what we are, and we start to live in true value. And if you don't have true value within yourself, then others can't value you. So when we stop looking outside for value, we start to live true value.
Yeah. And I don't know anybody who wouldn't want that. Really.
That's really what we're all looking for, right? We're looking for that holy grail.
Exactly.
We're all, there's this void when we're young. Something's off, something's not quite right about us, and we're always looking
Right.
to fill that. And our whole lives, we try to fill that void, like trying to be okay. Fill it with food, with sex, with accomplishment, with whatever it is, with spiritual attainment becomes the next trip. But the
Yeah.
seeking itself, right? That desire, like Buddha said, desire is sufferings. We keep seeking that desire. We never land on true freedom because we always think it's somewhere else. So we're caught in a seeking mind. And it's
Yeah.
time to stop searching and start to recognize the gift of life that's here. When our
Yeah.
attention can stay steady with that, we receive such gratitude and beauty that yes, there's challenges and ups and downs in life, but that's how we're refined. That's how we evolve. That's how we grow. But we can know the steadiness, the stillness within ourselves that is unchanging, that is always available, always here. That's what's trustworthy. Everything else comes and goes. So when we see our attentions with what comes and goes, we're stuck. When we can be
Yeah.
free of that seeking, then we're free.
Um, and you have people who come to you who probably have never done anything before, and they're sort of maybe a little skeptical, or maybe they're not skeptical when they come to you, but they're not sure what to expect. Is there an aha moment for people that you see when they experience enlightenment and spiritual awakening?
Yeah, but there could be many aha moments, but that initial, let's call it an essential realization, was
Yeah.
when you just really recognize that everything is whole, everything is complete, everything's connected and perfect and okay. And the truth is, some people have had that consciously, they recognize it, others don't. But everybody
Mm.
listening in right now has had a moment in nature where they looked out at some beautiful vista, some sunset, and it just blew them away. That
Yeah.
initial moment of awe where you're just like there but not there and everything is perfect. And I'll tell you also, everyone's had that experience in the moment of an orgasm. In the
Yeah.
moment of orgasm, not before and after, there's just that opening and perfection. So
Mm.
when we start to inquire into who we really are and what's always here, it's not about a spiritual thing. It's not esoteric. It's very fundamental. Where's your attention? Is your attention stuck in your thoughts? Can you be trained out of your mind to actually be right where you already are. You are already being.